Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. My background is my 38th year coaching football. I've either been a defensive, offensive, or special teams coordinator, as well as the head coach at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about our match quarters variation that we refer to as Gray 3. Again, this is where my hair comes in handy, versus the past concept that we call Oklahoma. Okay. So if you're really interested in the assignments in general, go to my grade 3 match quarters variation playlist, and there it is. Same for our match quarters grade 4 playlist that has all the information in there as well. I would encourage you to take a few minutes and watch some. So what I wanted to focus on here is how in our grade 3, which is a variation in our match quarters coverage, how we cover Oklahoma. Okay, so Oklahoma is number one's running a vertical, usually just a go, but it could be a skinny post or a corner. And number two is running an out under 10. Boom, done, right? The All American concept that all offenses seem to run, including triple option. All right. So I'm going to start inside and work my way out. The inside linebackers, nothing's different. Okay. Everybody, including outside, inside, corner, minus the corners, outside safety. So these are the three: inside linebacker, outside linebacker, safety are reading surface to 2. On the other side, inside, outside, safety, surface to 2. Okay. And the surface is the guard and center, guard and tackle, guard and tackle. Okay. In this case over here, number tight end is number 2. All right. So, and the inside linebackers, surface shows pass, running backs to you, go get them. Boom, done. Here, surface, running back away, slide over, mirror the cue. Boom, done. Okay, so consistent with grade 4 is grade 3 for our inside linebackers. Now, the outside linebackers, again, surface to 2. Well, now the big difference between grade 4 and grade 3, our base match quarters in this variation, when 2 runs and out now, our outside linebacker has to take. Okay, because our corners are manned up on number 1. Okay, so now before I get any further into the outside linebacker, let's just quickly talk about the corner play. As it says up here, this is off man example, so that means they're at depth, 7 yards. On the snap, they go from their normal outside alignment to inside stem, and then it's all about the man. Their eyes, the corners do, and this is tough because we just constantly talking about surface and coaching up surface, and it's part of our drill package surface. And now all of a sudden they're not supposed to read surface. So this is a little difficult for the kids sometimes. Okay, although it's not a tough one when you pump them up. You tell them the reason we can run this is because of you and your ability to play the man, and they get fired up. And sometimes it's hard to get them back to the surface, but kids are kids. You gotta love it. This is why we do it. So both corners, so field and boundary, stem inside, and that's all about the man. They never look at the surface. It's all about the man. They don't take a zit step. They don't take any pedals. And then the technique that we use for the corners is wall, which means you're in between, you're building a wall between a vertical route and the quarterback. That's what it means. Okay. You're not going to allow this vertical to come inside, find the open window because you've built a wall between the receiver and the quarterback. So the difference between a wall and a cut, and a wall, you've already been there. You've established the wall from your alignment. You're already there, and you stay there. You never leave. Okay, like a wall, permanent. Whereas a cut, you have to physically change things and go from being like on top or outside to underneath and in between. You're cutting. Like you cut the line, you change lines, you cut lanes, you change lanes on the highway. Okay. Whereas, you're driving down the road and you want to wall off somebody from cutting you off, you speed up a little bit, right? Well, just think that same concept. That's what we mean by wall when we're talking about defending a receiver. Okay. And so the safeties are playing the same technique as our base grade 4 match concept. Two's out, they zone off to one, and now they're on top. So essentially, we are double covering the vertical of number one. Okay. And so just to answer, if this were to become a corner, now the our corner would undercut or cut it, so we're under and over. Okay, a corner route to take away that void. So if it's a deep out, same thing, he'll undercut the deep out. Otherwise, barring any movement to the sidelines, our corner is going to stay inside in the wall. Okay. So now back, and that's the same on both sides per usual. Back to our outside linebacker. They're going to expand and cut the out, but what's meant by carry the wheel, it's how you got to teach your outside linebackers to keep the eye in the near hip. Do not turn their head back, because if this becomes a wheel, they're likely to be beaten. And if the quarterback's got timing and an arm, they're going to hit it in the void before anybody else can react. Okay. Now, our safety can, in fact, be alert for a wheel, because as he zones off, he knows he's got help and he can get into position. And this is a whole nother presentation. We talk about a slide cross behind, keeping square, gaining width and depth. So if your safeties are doing that, they can see the quarterback indicator and react easier than if they're turned and running at a 45. It's not as easy to see and react. Okay. But the big coaching point is when they cut the out of two, it's man now. So eyes to the man. Cut underneath the hip, read the hip. If that hip starts to turn vertical, grab near wrist, and then work back for inside position. So you're cut again in between the receiver running the wheel and the quarterback. Okay. And at that point, hopefully we've gotten some pressure. The quarterback's gotten itchy, jerked the mule, and he's given up on the route concept. Okay. So again, that's the same on both sides. It's a little bit easier for the rover who's getting hands and knocking back from the get-go. Much easier. It's more difficult over here in the open field. But in our grade 3, which again, 1, 2, 3, hence grade 3, our reading number 2 after reading the surface, our corners, it's like 909 football. They're not even part of it. They're isolating on the man. But in this concept, they end up getting some help from the safety. Okay, so it's pretty good. As always, please, any questions, feel free to reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to talk football with you.